All right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and kick this off, guys. Um, so Kendall and Vera Whelpton, welcome to Midnight Dollar Feature. Lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for joining us. We're absolutely honored to have you, and congratulations on the Sleepless Unrest. This
Thank you.
was
Thank you.
a movie. this was okay. So look, I watched this with my girlfriend, and we watched it in the dead of night. We watched it with the lights off. My only regret is, oh God, I wish I'd seen this in the cinema. It's just one of those
Wow.
like experiences where I wish I saw this with a crowd, and I wish I saw this in the correct atmosphere. But unfortunately, it's just not the way sometimes things pan out. And this is not really a question that I wanted to start off with, but considering considering the recent, I guess, situation around COVID here in Sydney, we've actually just been plunged into lockdown again. So
I heard that. Yeah.
yeah, like if you guys had the opportunity to do a wide release, if you guys had the budget to do a wide release, would you have? And is the cinematic experience obviously important to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. The cinematic experience is always important to us on how we do all our productions. We actually shot the film in 6K and downresed it to 4K. So we were, just in case, you just never know the longevity of films, and you just gotta you gotta plan for that. And we wanted to do this different. This film documentary reality movie, like it's just,
we're not sure what to call it.
Yeah, it's a very immersed experience, and we just tried to document the best we could with that. And it really followed through in the edit. And just the whole experience is it's a big movie. It wants to be on the big screen. We've been lucky enough to view it on the big screen the first time ever a few weeks ago, and I mean, it was pretty amazing. So,
and it was interesting to see the audience reactions, where they laugh, where they went, ooh, things like that. It was actually really cool for us to witness that.
Oh, totally. Like, were you guys just, kind of like anticipating it, just sitting there? All right, I hope this gets a big reaction. Oh,
Yeah.
you must
we
have.
were
You must have.
like looking over, like looking. Our cast too. Our cast hadn't seen it ever until that time that we showed it for the premiere. And we're watching the cast and reaction, the homeowners. We're like, our hearts are like,
God.
because it's like, I hope they don't, I hope
Because
they're
they love
okay. I
it.
hope
Yeah.
they like it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure they loved it. Look, before I do get into the Sleepless Unrest, I want to talk about you guys. This is it's a bit of a two-parter. So, paranormal investigator isn't what you'd really call a common gig. So how did you guys become interested in investigating the paranormal? And I guess as an addition to that, how do you guys usually respond to the inevitable people who might dismiss what you guys do? Because I mean, no, I'm sure you get it. And if you don't, amazing, that's fantastic. But I'm sure you must have got your detractors. So how do you guys usually respond to that? And I guess a three-part question: were you guys inspired at all by Ed and Lorraine Warren?
Sorry. First question. How do we get started? We go way back since our childhood. Your parents are super into, they had paranormal experiences. My parents did too. I grew up listening to stories all throughout my childhood, and then all the way until adulthood, when I actually had a profound paranormal experience regarding my father after he passed away. And that changed me. That's what got me taking things more serious. And I wanted to learn the word, what it is to investigate and really research and learn as much as I could, because it took it very personal. I wanted to find out if that was really my dad from the other side. Was it really my dad, or was it me going through the mourning process, or was it something else? And that's what got me started. And then I ended up applying to a TV show called Ghost Hunters Academy, and that's where I met Kendall. And then little did I know, or childhoods were pretty similar. I mean, your parents, go ahead, like.
Yeah, my parents, they've always been into the paranormal. You know, we have big family gatherings and everybody's talking about my uncle's house that was haunted and the things that had happened recently. And I played Ouija board in the house with my cousin. And then later, that was back then when it wasn't really a thing, you know. But yeah, I mean, I moved out of my house when I was 18 and moved to Colorado up in the mountains and moved into a hospital, an old hospital. I didn't know it at the time, but the first night there, stuff started happening. So it just But you
moved to an apartment.
Yeah, the apartment. It was an old hospital.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they had made the rooms in the old hospital apartment. Apartment areas and yeah, it was a pretty noisy first night. And I remember just having an experience the first night. You know, I had a cold breeze come over my face and ruffle my sleeping bag. I was sleeping on the floor. And I mean, after that, stuff was happening all the time. It was a very tricky, you know, just
when your mom visited, she said that the little TV would turn on and off.
Yeah,
and
it was mischievous.
All kinds of stuff.
Always messing with us. Anyway, that actually piqued my interest in the paranormal. And then I saw this show that was hiring. It was called Ghost Hunters, and I applied to it and got the job. Season 2 I was on, and that was it, man. I was in, and yeah, working as a cameraman all the way up until the new A&E series. You know, it just was something that I've been into and fascinated with.
That's amazing, and that's such a great. I love hearing about your guys' history. That's awesome. And you guys were meant to be when you guys met. That's fantastic.
I mean, it seems like we have very similar upbringing. So our family love each other. It was normal for us to talk about ghost stories.
It was. It wasn't
like other people.
It wasn't woo woo or a taboo or anything. So that helped. You know, our families definitely embraced it and are interested in it. So it made it okay for us to
do what we do.
Yeah,
that's so good to hear, and that's so wholesome. I love that.
What was your second question?
I think it was the Warrens.
I threw it out. I'm sorry, it was not meant to be that huge, and I apologize. But my second question was, you know, in relation to kind of people who dismiss what you guys do. So, you know, if you've ever come across anyone who, you know, you're doing what you're doing, and they're kind of like. You sense that they're rolling their eyes at you behind your back. How do you deal with that? How do you? I mean, do you confront it? Do you walk up to them?
No. Everybody's entitled to their opinion for sure. And this has been something that's been very controversial for many, many years. So we get it. We understand it. Look, we're not trying to convince anybody, a skeptic into a believer. Our job is to document, and that's our main focus is to document and just present credible evidence in what we do. And you know, these documentaries that, you know, The House in Between was about a homeowner living in a house, and it really helped her because it brought light to her situation, which she gave up her house because of the paranormal activity happening. So, you know, if we can ever help people or help them understand or even show them footage that they're experiencing, that's a win-win situation. I think it helps.
In fact, I'm fascinated by skeptics. I love talking to them because they keep things grounded. In fact, we hired our editor AP as well, Corey Frost, who was part of the project, and he's a skeptic. And it was hard, like, well, we thought they made a good balance because, you know, he would keep us grounded. Sometimes we would hear things that he wouldn't believe. He would, well, this is, I don't know about this. And we wanted to present the best of everything. And he kept us totally grounded.
He gave us a good
filter because we want to be appealing to everybody. And we want to be able to tell a good story that would be appreciated by everybody, skeptic and non-skeptic.
It's not good to sway all the way one side. Like it's just not. And you have to really look at some of the stuff you're doing. And you have multiple people. We have a very nice tight-knit network that we work with that, you know, reviews this evidence that we capture. And it's just, it's a process, and we definitely want to put the best stuff forward.
Absolutely. You know, that's such a healthy mindset. And I think you guys did such a great So, look, I'm gonna say that I'm probably on the skeptical side when it comes to these kinds of things. But I mean, you guys did such a great job of, like you said, just presenting the evidence, and the evidence being the mouthpiece instead of you guys being the mouthpiece of what you're trying to get across. You guys did
Yeah.
such a great job. I love it. So look, let's move on to the movie itself. Documentary filmmaking is a bit of a weird beast in that, your movie might change based on what you experience as you're making it, as opposed to a pre-existing script, right? In normal other genres. So, did the film change for you guys as you were experiencing the event, or did it turn out to be exactly as you expected? Like, did at one point in the movie while you're making it, did you kind of have to pivot and be like, oh, this is what the movie is, rather than what you set out to be, or what you set out to make?
There was no pre-production for this because we were invited to this. First, we were invited to just hang out with our friends at that location. Then we asked permission that we could film. So there was no planning at all. It was like,
okay.
pack the bag, get a babysitter, pack the cameras in the car, and let's go.
Let's go. Literally,
And, yeah.
It's how it happened. What you saw was exactly the adventure that we embarked on. And I mean, it
wanted
was
to document the real experience of a group of friends experiencing a real haunted house. Is so famous.
How many movies have you seen with that, that premise? It's like, oh yeah, they get drawn to the place and blah blah blah.
Right.
Well, where's the real story of that? We asked that, like, let's see what this does. And if we were prepared, if this doesn't produce anything, which we've done stuff, we've gone to other locations and it hasn't produced for us, and we're willing to, with the pandemic and everything, to give things a shot, and it just quickly it just unfolded fast for us, and
it's a big risk.
It was, yeah,
it's a big risk, but we just did it. We did it, and to our surprise, stuff happened, and we were surprised. Nobody at any moment we were like, oh, let's change this or that. It was just all about just capturing the experience, everything that happened. There was one surprise that happened, and as you know, towards the end of the film, that we weren't expecting.
I'll ask about that. Towards the end of
So I won't go into it, but to answer your question, that was the only one that we were like, whoa, we weren't expecting that one.
Yeah,
but we kept it as linear as possible, just as it happened.
And we didn't do any research before going there. Go ahead.
The only thing that changed was the ending, because when we went home, we thought it was just the ending was the ending, the end of the location. Sure. And as you know, something happens, so we had to add that to the end, because that's the only thing that made us.
We thought it was a closed and shut case,
Yeah.
And but I mean, to put on top of that, we didn't do any kind of research. We went in with just an open palette, no preconceived notions
to
of
anything
to
open mind.
Yeah. We didn't want to just read about everybody's experience there or
claims.
Or claims. There's been many investigators in there, and we stayed away from researching any of that, and it was good. We didn't really know much about the house up until just mostly the Warrens and the Perron family dealings there, and it was just good for us to document our experience.
No, absolutely. I mean, that way, I guess, as a documentarian, you avoid bias, right? Like running into any preconceived leanings or anything like that. So that's absolutely fantastic. So during the events of the film, you guys get yourself into places and positions that other people wouldn't dare to go. You especially, Kendall, with the take some huge risks to your personal safety to get the answers you're looking for, and because you're kind of like pulling a thread, right? So you're wondering what's at the other end of this thread, and you just don't know. So my question is, do you guys need to rationalize in your mind and weigh up the risk versus reward before going into these situations? When you're putting possibly yourself, your body out in harm's way.
He got in big trouble for that one with me. But again, he doesn't listen. It's like he knows that he's gonna get scolded afterwards, and
man, am I right?
Like,
Ask for forgiveness, right? Afterwards.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
easy to ask
you
for
know.
forgiveness. in condition, yeah.
But listen, I know that he would never put himself in danger. Like he would never do something that he doesn't feel he can have, that you have under control.
Yeah.
He would never do that. So
Yeah.
I trust your judgment. I do.
My gauge of things like that are a little different than the normal person. I think I'm more apt to get in there, put myself into situations or things, just from my past and background. I used to be a professional snowboarder, and
Oh,
Stop.
nice.
I'm used to kind of putting myself
Body on the
riding
line.
that fine line, you know what I mean? So it's adventurous for me in points. And if there's a spot that I'm hearing a noise from, or there's something that I need to get in there or do it, it's one to be able to capture it, and that's why we're doing this. But the other thing, especially the well, I like to conquer a lot of my fears right away, and that's kind of a way for me to push myself to kind of conquer those fears. I'm very claustrophobic, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna conquer this fear here, because then it makes it easier for me, I guess. I don't know, it's just a weird mindset mentality, but
God, I need that mindset in my life. that's so inspiring, man. I mean, even towards the end with the bridge, it's obviously it's the paranormal that people come for in this movie, but when you're physically getting your body into these spaces, in the well with all that claustrophobic, that claustrophobic space, and then when you're in the basement at night by yourself, and then you guys are in the forest, it is you got to think about the physical body as well. It's crazy where you guys end up.
yeah,
It's
it was an
really
adventure. We had no idea that house was
What
that
it
active.
was.
Yeah, what it
No,
was. I mean,
no.
it was
It was
it's
surprising. It was surprising.
it's a different story staying at these places for long
Yeah.
periods of time and exposing yourself to them for that amount of time. It's just different. Like for us, we called it the Sleepless Unrest, and that definitely held true to the whole project. It was a very noisy house, and it was a very active house, and it was almost taunting us at points, because like it would do, like something would happen and I wouldn't have my camera, and it'd just be off the side of the DVR.
Oh.
And I'm like literally like, wait, I'm not rolling. I'm not, like
and we were like, really?
It's interesting. I mean, it's just,
like
it's playful
games.
and just, it's just nonstop. Yeah.
Mischievous, yeah.
But you put enough cameras in a place, you're gonna get stuff.
I
So.
was surprised though.
Yeah, well, that's kind of something that I wanted to get into. I mean, was there anything that you guys ended up cutting out of the documentary, or did you? I mean, like, were there any other happenings that you guys were like, I don't know about this. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out in editing. Speaking of what you just talked about.
We got
there was a lot. The movie was 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
The movie
Well,
was.
No, it was way longer, but the final was 2 hours, and then we had to just start cutting, sacrificing stuff that I was like, oh, I really like it, but we couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that happened. Can I talk about the basement?
Yeah,
The touch.
Yeah.
I had something happen there that's never happened in my life. I've been to a lot of these locations, and it didn't make the film because it was a personal experience, and it unfortunately wasn't documented. But yeah, I got touched. I was in the basement, and I felt this very nice, like I was asking for it. I jumped in front of the camera and I was like, hey, or if you're here, blah, 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 if you can just give us a sign or whatever. And I felt a very nice, like gentle, like holding of my arm right here.
Touch. Okay.
Yeah. Not like a punch or pinch or anything. And I just, I'm like, oh, this is happening. I'm going play by play. This is happening. This is what's happening, and everybody's looking at me like, oh my God.
Thinking, well, it was pitch black first. And I'm just like trying to get a flashlight on the camera. Because we didn't have IR.
Yeah, we didn't film with IR.
No.
But case in point, we went back in the footage. I was hoping for the sleeve to show the proof, something to physically show my personal experience, back it up. There was nothing there. And it was just a personal experience. Yeah, it was.
You can see his face. He was like completely.
It was shocking.
Right. Yeah.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't feel negative or any kind of, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was out to get me or anything. It didn't feel aggressive or it just was like, hey, I'm here. I'm doing what you're asking for. And like it stayed. And then it just kind of, and it's interesting because that has happened to other investigators there.
We found out that later.
Okay. Yeah, we found that
the
out.
owners
The
told us
Heinzens
that's actually a claim that happens to males in the basement.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
that's interesting. I mean, it seems like, you know, whatever is there, be it one entity or multiple entities, is incredibly, you know, responsive to questions and being, you know, prompts. Because I'm thinking about in particular that moment with the doors, right, when you guys are sitting there and the door, you know, you guys look in two directions, and then you see whatever you see in that sort of window. So yeah, it's crazy that it's so I guess reactive to prompts.
Interactive, reactive. Yeah. It's we've, you know, with our time there, we don't know what it is or what's going on there, but we know that we're getting interaction and we feel it's intelligent interaction, which is very fascinating for us. And if you can capture just a little bit of that, that's a big win for you know what we're doing here.
Absolutely. So look, this interview is going to release just after the release of the actual film. So I'm hoping some people would have seen this by then, because I kind of want to talk about the ending of the film, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because I know it is extremely it's extremely serious, and you know it's something that I guess stays with you. And I don't want to make light of it because it's not something to joke around about. But I just kind of want to ask how are you guys doing after the events of the film? Because I didn't have a particular question sort of queued up for this. It's more about just like how are you guys? How's your well-being? In addition to Brian and Rachel as well, who you bring along as well. I just kind of wanted to ask, just how you guys are doing.
Well, I honestly took about 3 months to recover from that whole experience. About 3 months for all of us.
Yeah.
We didn't even know about Brian Rachel until later when we started talking, and we're like, oh, we're not the only ones. Everybody's having issues. And we talked, and it's really amazing that we have a really good supporting group. We were all there for each other. So even, I mean, this goes beyond, like, I don't even know how much I can say.
So, I mean,
but
yeah, it was
tough. It was tough.
Very tough. What we encountered with our daughter was the hardest thing that I've ever had to, that I've ever done and documented. That was tough,
parent, I'm sure. Yeah.
It was, and even we cut it out and then we put it back in and we cut it. Like, it was just one of those things where we're just like, man, but I think there's some information to be learned. I think there's something to be learned from it. And I'll be honest with you, it's not the first time something has happened to us after we've done one of these shoots. So Vera and I had talked early on, like, are we documenting this?
I mean, it's only fair that if that stuff is happening and we see a pattern, I mean, I feel we were responsible to document that.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough. I mean, seeing her, still dealing with the dream. She saw,
I was having a lot of nightmares,
seeing stuff in the bedroom, and
all kinds of experiences.
I mean, it was that's something.
I even started being angry with him because I thought, well, why did we do this? Why did you get in the well? What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, I started like almost blaming and kind of like, maybe we went too far. Maybe we should not done this. But we're trained, we're strong. Our parents have been there, done that. They were super supportive. I asked my mother, do you think it's a good idea to present this particular situation and put it to this particular scene on camera? And she was supportive. She said, I think it's important that people see what really did happen. So we got her blessing and we were like, okay, so let's do it. And
especially because Brian and Rochelle are also having
it wasn't just us, it was all of us.
Like,
all of us.
This is something. So
even I have to say it, but you're the first one to hear this. But even our skeptical editor, as he was editing, he started, I don't know what, he didn't know that we were having anything, but he called us and he said, some strange things are happening. And then he started telling us and we were like, oh my God, like what's going on? So we are super spiritually strong and we prayed, like we haven't prayed in a long time.
We do a lot of protection.
And we also rely a lot in laughter. We laugh a lot. The laughter will conquer fear, y'all.
Love and laughter. Yeah.
Our strength in each other. Yeah. And because we were starting to bicker, like, because we weren't sleeping, we were stressed out, we were having issues.
Sure, tensions got high, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Now you're home and you're in your safe zone, and
when you guard down, and
you're supposed to be not having the same stuff happening that was happening there at your own personal
like space. It didn't make sense. So we got it. We're much better now. Once in a while it gets kind of strange, but we
nip in the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys seem like two extremely strong people, and as long as you guys have each other, you have your family. It's strength in numbers. Look, I'm glad to hear you guys are obviously safe, and you guys are dealing with it as you're dealing with it so healthily. So it's amazing. So look, we are nearing the end of our time here. So look, I just wanted to say thank you so much for talking to me about Sleepless Unrest. Again, the movie is fantastic. It's riveting from start to finish. Once you get to that final sort of, I guess, if you want to break them down to third act, you're just kind of like at the edge of your seat. So,
wow!
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Just one final question. This was something that I asked all of my guests. So we're called Midnight Double Feature. What's your guys' favorite double feature? If you had time to sit down on a Sunday back to back, what would you choose?
That's a really good question.
I'd say,
it's always off the cuff, these questions. I love saying the guests.
Well, Contact.
I love Contact.
Nice.
Contact.
Right. And then maybe like
I love Back to the Future.
Maybe Goonies or something.
All these 80s movies. Steven Spielberg, anything Steven Spielberg. I'm happy. Or she was hoping for scary movies. I don't watch scary movies.
I can't, she can't.
I get so nervous. I'm always covering my eyes because I know it's all about jump scares and horrible faces and blood and like guts and like I try to avoid them. But if you're asking specifically about a scary movie,
I'd say Contact and
a scary movie.
Oh, scary movie.
Horror.
Well, we got to go with The Conjuring, right?
Absolutely.
Anything by James Wan, guys are
absolutely,
The Conjuring's amazing.
That's a given for sure. We actually just watched that the other night. So
nice.
Yeah,
the original Exorcist was pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty
oh
good.
boy,
And
that's something that sticks with you.
Yeah. Oh my God, the movie The Strangers. Oh, that's the creepiest. That's probably gave me nightmares for a long time.
That's a
heavy
different
one.
kind of horror. Man, that's terrifying.
Yeah. I'm glad you think so.
But look, guys, again, congratulations again on the film. At this time, hopefully by the time everyone's listening to this, Sleepless Unrest, The Real Conjuring Home is out now in select theaters and on VOD. So huge congratulations, and you guys are we can't wait to see what you guys make next, and you guys have an open invite to come back onto the podcast to talk about what you guys want to talk about, because even just to riff about just movies. We'd love to have you guys
Yeah,
back. So
yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. But this has been amazing. Really, really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so
For
much.
us
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
We love talking to you. Enjoy
Yeah.
this conversation with Don.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You
You
too.
too. Bye.
Bye.